You are watching the Debate Me channel, and I can single-handedly destroy America. And this is how I would do it. First of all, in order for any of this to work, I would have to be able to establish a persona that is very engaging to far left people, especially extremists. I would need to find the appropriate language to get them riled up, but without being too overt. I'd have to be slick with it. Talk out of both sides of my mouth. Use a lot of dog whistles. And the theme that I would focus on is, of course, racism. So if I wanted to charge up the American left, I would focus on a theme of racism, a war against white supremacists that are looking to take over this country and bring back slavery, right? And go after people of color all over the place, right? So we need to start a righteous battle, good versus evil. And of course, we, the anti-racist army, we're the good side, naturally. Anyway, so I would need to start with using my social media accounts to charge people up and keep trying different things. And whatever I see I'm getting the most engagement from and the most emotionally charged engagement, latch on to that, right? So let's say Donald Trump is going to be the next Hitler, right? I start saying stuff like that, like J.D. Vance. So taking a right-wing talking point from a right-winger J.D. Vance, talk about Trump as Hitler, and go all out. But I'll be slick with it, right? I will try to follow some real crazy extremists. So for the really extreme stuff, I'm not actually gonna say it, I'm just gonna promote it. So hopefully I follow someone that says stuff like, not only go further than just comparing Trump to Hitler, go all in. There's gonna be millions of black people that are gonna be slaughtered by white supremacist militias under a Donald Trump presidency. Somebody says that, some left-wing nutjob says that, and I retweet it, and I say, man, oh man, this is bad, right? That's all I say, right? So I didn't say he's gonna kill anybody. I didn't compare to Hitler. Somebody else did. I just saw the tweet and I thought it was interesting, right? Turns out this guy is a black nationalist or something, some racist, black racist or whatever it is. And, so right-wing media calls me out for promoting a tweet from a black nationalist. And I say, well, I didn't know he was a black nationalist. I retweet stuff all the time. It doesn't mean I condone everything they say, right? So I just pretend like I didn't know, and I might not know, because that's not the point. I don't want to know, right? The point is, I need to get people charged up, but I also need to not look too unhinged and too extreme, right? I have to do this little dance. So I see something that I know will charge people up, I'm gonna retweet it or like it, and then, basically throw the rock and hide my hands, right? So I don't have to take accountability for my actions, right? Basically a bitch move. But, if it gets the job done, right? I'll take that. So once I get something going, I get a movement of people. Well, first I get the followers, right? From the followers, I can develop a movement. So once I see I'm getting a lot of engagement, then I start graduating my rhetoric into war talk. We need to stand up against these white nationalists. Otherwise, they're going to take our country, right? If you love America, you can't sit back and let this happen. Then ultimately, some crazy left-wing nutcases will start talking about Donald Trump is going to steal the election, right? Because clearly he can't win. He's incompetent. Kamala is much better. There's no way he should win fairly. So we know he's going to cheat. He's going to try to take the election from Kamala Harris. And it is our duty as Americans to stand up and not let that happen, right? So that's the rhetoric I start pushing out. And then I let the far left extremists, again, take the heavy lifting. They'll take it to the next level, right? And whatever they're doing, I'll promote it. They start saying, we got to get out in the streets and blah, right? We need to be ready. And they start promoting stuff about, militia stuff and Second Amendment stuff. And, we got to let them know we on the left, we respect the Second Amendment as well. Just because we want regulation doesn't mean we don't have guns. We have guns too, and we know how to use them, right? And the Constitution, the right thinks that they're the only ones that they can take up arms against tyranny, right? But they're wrong. They're the real tyranny, right? Trump is the real tyranny. And the Constitution says we have a right to take up arms against a tyrannical government, right? What they were doing was nonsense. What we're doing is real, right? They start talking that rhetoric. I start promoting it, right? And then I see things leading up to, they're going to do a big thing before the inauguration or whatever to do, before the certification. They're planning some big rally, right? And it's getting a lot of traction. It looks like a lot of people are going to come out. And I'm seeing a lot of violent rhetoric and people posting stuff about saying goodbye to their families and posting pictures with themselves with guns in their hands. And I see militia guys promoting videos online about they're ready for anything, blah. no one's necessarily explicitly saying anything too crazy, but it's crazy enough. Obviously, you can see people are ready for violence, right? But I'm gonna pretend like I don't see that. I'm just gonna keep liking their tweets, right? Keep liking their tweets and promoting people that are pushing this rhetoric. I'm gonna help promote the event, and I'm gonna pretend like it's just gonna be protest. You know, that's what I'm talking about. I don't know what those other crazy people are talking about. I'm just talking about peacefully, right? I'm not gonna, and that's the key thing. At some point in time, all I need to do is say the phrase peacefully. So I put out a tweet to my followers, and I say, everyone that's coming on whatever date for this event, I want us to all be peaceful. We don't stand for violence. We stand for peace, right? And that's it. Once I've dropped that tweet, I can say whatever I want to say. People talking about, you know, we got our guns ready. I can like it, and I can say, well, it looks like a lot of people are angry. I think that Donald Trump and his crazy followers need to think twice, right? So I keep fanning the flames and putting out more aggressive rhetoric, and I can see what's happening on social media. I can see it's leading up to something violent and dangerous, but I pretend not to know. You know, I'm just using the same rhetoric like the right wing uses, right? We don't actually mean anything dangerous, right? And then an event takes place, and I keep fanning the flames and pretending not to see where things are going. Violence pops off, and I'm just silent. I don't, you know, pretend like I don't see what they're doing, right? Just keep silent. People ask me questions, I don't respond, or I hide from it, or I deflect and I say, well, look what the right wing did. You remember January 6th, or remember what they did, blah, blah. And the left is not the ones that do violence. Most of the time that there's bombing and whatever, it's coming from the right, right? So I just keep dodging and ducking and diving. And then when the blood starts to pour, right, I pretend not to see it, and I keep inflaming it even more. You know, people are upset. Clearly they're upset, right? And if the Republicans, you know, would just follow the law and not cheat, people wouldn't be so upset, right? And people start putting it on me, saying it's my fault. And I say, listen, man, what do I have to do with people being upset because they're being taken advantage of, right? I understand their pain. I understand where they're angry. They have a right to be angry, right? And in this country, we have the freedom to voice our opinions, right? Pretending, all the while pretending like I don't see what's going on. Blood is already being spilled, and I'm still dancing around and playing games, right? Ultimately, if whatever we do is successful, then great. I seize power, right? And we start cleaning house, right? And also, another piece of this could be far left, really organized group with a lot of money can put together an aggressive plan about how I can dismantle the government, right? And basically extract every element of conservatism and religion from our government, right? Remove all the racism, right? And they talk about getting rid of, you know, anyone that was appointed by the Republican Party, get rid of them, right? Any language, anywhere that references God or any kind of Republican or right-wing talking points, extract it. So they come up with a 100-page document about how, if I win, I can just totally turn the government into a woke, left-wing, socialist government. We're going to turn this country into socialism because a lot of people are struggling and they can't afford food and they don't have housing and everybody should have a home and it's not paying enough and the capitalism is destroying this country and it's right? So they have this 100-page plan, right? Some left-wing group funded by George Soros and all kind of billionaires and really rich people, right? And I'll pretend not to know that part and pretend like, you know, this is a grassroots movement and it's this is what the people want, right? And then when the right wing starts fear-mongering and saying, you know, the socialist plan for America, that's what's going to happen if I win, right? I don't know anything about it. I haven't seen it. I haven't heard anything about it. Listen, that's what that group is doing. I'm not representative of that group. I've looked at it. I've seen, you know, they got some interesting things in there, but they got some crazy stuff in there. I don't say what's crazy about it. Never, ever say what's crazy about it because I know I'm going to do what's in there. So I just pretend not to know what's in there, right? But I want to dance the thing. So like, yeah, I know there's crazy stuff, but never ever will I say what's bad about it, right? Just that there's crazy stuff in there. And there's some stuff that's good in there. But either way, it's not me. I don't know anything about it. Somehow I know that there's crazy stuff in there, but I don't know anything about it, right? Excluding that I know that there's crazy stuff in there and there's okay stuff in there. But excluding that, I don't know anything about it, right? Once I win, right, or we steal, well, we're not going to say we steal it, right? We're going to take it back from the right who's stealing it, right? Then I get in power. Then all of a sudden, well, this document is here. A lot of people worked on it. Might as well use it. And I'm in power, so not like you can do anything about it, right? Then I start implementing this thing, pushing the country to socialism, right? And any attempt to challenge me, legally or otherwise, I just keep showing the tweet. I said to be peaceful. I said we don't stand for violence. This right-wing liars are trying to say I'm the one who instigated this violence or whatever. And it's unfortunate that some people got hurt. We understand why this thing happened is because the right wing were trying to steal the election, right? People were angry. It's understandable they were angry.
And by the way, if I happen to do anything that's illegal, well, I will just go to the Supreme Court and, hey man, Official acts, official acts. I'm immune because it's official acts. And you can't even investigate or inquire about why I did the things that I did because, according to the Supreme Court, I'm protected. It's official acts, so you can't even investigate. So there's nothing you can do. I can break the law, right? As long as it's within the confines of my official duties, thanks to Donald Trump, I'm good to go.
Breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law, breaking the law. It's unfortunate, some of the stuff that happened. Don't go into details about what the stuff is, right? Just say it's unfortunate that some of the stuff that happened, right? I don't support the bad stuff, but I get why people were angry. But ultimately, you can't blame me. Try to say that's what I meant to. You can read my mind. How do you know what I meant to do and what I thought was going to happen? You can't read my mind. But what you can do is read my tweet. And my tweet said to be peaceful, right? And every time they bring up, but you said this and you said, but I said be peaceful. But what about you were retweeting this black nationalist? Listen, I didn't know they were black nationalists. And as I always said, be peaceful. The media never wants to report that I said peaceful. I actually specifically said no violence. And the media never wants to report on that. The right-wing media, right? Right-wing media keeps lying on me, trying to make it like I did this and it's my fault, right? They're just trying to cover up because they're the ones who stole the election, right? The American people rose up, as the Constitution allows us to do, to fight back against this white nationalist agenda to steal the election from us, right? I rightfully won. I got the most votes. The only reason it looked otherwise is because of all the fraud, right? But once again, peacefully. I said peacefully. And that's it. Shut down all debate. Every point you bring, I just look at my tweet. I said peacefully. Any point you make, any evidence you make, talk about people that I have surrounding me, what they said or whatever. I didn't say that. They said that, right? What I said is peacefully, right? I don't support black nationalists, right? Where do you see me supporting them? I like the tweet. Well, I didn't know he was a black nationalist. You have evidence that I knew, right? I see stuff online. I like stuff that sounds interesting, right? And that's how I would do it, folks. I would take over America and make it a socialist country and get away with it, all because at one point in time, I put a tweet out that said no violence, right? And that's how you do it, because Americans are that gullible. I know the left thinks that they would never fall for this. They think it's only the right wing that are gullible, but the right wing are not aliens, right? They're Americans just like you. They got the same mushy brain between the ears just like you. The only difference is you don't have a superstar like Donald Trump in terms of a reality star, entertainer, right? You don't have somebody like that on your side to push all your buttons the right way and charge you guys up enough. But if you did, listen, man, I know a lot of left-wing folks are gonna push back. I'm sorry, man. I honestly believe it could be done. A little bit, tweaks here and there. The left wing, even though they're humans, they're Americans, they have a lot of emotions as well. They have a different ideology, and I do have to cater to the way they think, right? Which is what Trump does. But if I do it, figure out their buttons, figure out the rhetoric that works, right? Know how to tweak them, right? I could scam them just like Trump. The only thing that's most important is I need to develop that persona that gets them on fire, right? If I can do that, I can grow a following, and I get the following big enough, I can grow a movement, get that movement big enough, and I can do no wrong. Take it to the levels of cult, right? Talk about how we're gonna make this country great again, right? Women used to be able to do abortions, right, more freely across the country. We're gonna make abortion legal across the country. No woman is ever gonna worry about getting abortions, right? We are going to make everyone, six-figure salaries is the minimum salary, right? We're gonna take over all these major corporations, right? It's gonna be this what do you call it? I forgot the word I'm looking for, but you know what I'm talking about, right? Keep feeding them this vision, get them all excited. Imagine.
Utopia. Everything is gonna be perfect. Everyone's gonna be kung fu fighting. Dun, 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 dun. Maybe not, but everyone's gonna have a house. Everyone's gonna be making great money. All the corporations will be state-owned, right? Everyone will be fed. There'll be no more homeless. Everyone will be happy, and it'll be the greatest time ever. All under my socialist rule. Right.